Everybody is in on Drew Holiday, Tony. Suddenly the Blazers get to do an auction. And they say, you want this guy? Well, now the Miami Heat are gonna try and reopen those same communications to get the door prize of Drew Holiday.
Unless you've been living under a rock or something, Damian Lillard was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks just a few days ago. Just as we all predicted, right? But now that Damian Lillard finally got traded, it means the landscape for the rest of the NBA to conduct trades are wide open. And there's a brand new trade candidate that is going to be significantly easier to trade than Damian Lillard. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. If you think my videos are too long, well, you probably made a 1 minute short of this video on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. My friends, we had a
legendary weekend on Prize Picks.
Your boy personally made $700, and I only missed 2 out of 11 of my picks. And you guys hit me up in the DMs and let me know about it. We're about to ramp it up for this week. Remember, you get a $100 deposit match on Prize Picks when you use my promo code microphone, and I post my picks onto my Instagram story at TheFlightMike for free each and every day that there's a football game. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Damian Lillard got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks after an entire summer of many analysts and YouTubers such as myself predicting that he would get traded to the Miami Heat. Everyone thought it was a foregone conclusion. Everyone thought it was written in stone. Damian Lillard will be a member of the Miami Heat at some point this upcoming season, and it didn't happen. And Miami Heat fans are pissed. Miami Heat players are pissed. Look at Jimmy Butler's reaction to the trade.
Yo, NBA, man, y'all need to look into the Bucks for tampering. Y'all do. I'm just gonna put that out there. Y'all didn't hear it from me, but I heard it through somebody. Y'all look at it for tampering.
Hell, Tyler Hero even quote tweeted this and agreed with Jimmy Butler. But why would he say that this is tampering? Well, do you guys remember how we mentioned how the NBA All-Star game is practically tampering galore? I mean, you literally get to choose your teammates that are All-Star teammates, and what kind of conversations do you think these players are having with one another in the locker room? Pay attention to who Giannis Antetokounmpo selected with his first pick, despite his teammate at the time, Drew Holiday, being available.
My first pick. Yeah. What'd you say, LeBron?
I already know his first pick.
Yeah, so do I.
My first pick gonna be Damian Lillard.
So I knew for sure his first pick was gonna be Drew. So I don't know what's going on with Giannis. Okay, you messed my whole draft board up now.
I'm here to win.
With my first pick.
But aside from the players being pissed, NBA fans are pissed. Damian Lillard isn't the first superstar that the Miami Heat were interested in and failed to swing a trade for. I mean, earlier this offseason, the Miami Heat were interested in Bradley Beal, and Bradley Beal got traded to the Phoenix Suns for a very small haul. He was practically donated to the Phoenix Suns, and the Miami Heat weren't able to execute that. But on top of that, you had Donovan Mitchell the year prior. You had Chris Paul, Zach LaVine, James Harden, and even Kyrie Irving. Fans are pissed at Pat Riley because it's clear that the East was wide open and he didn't seem to have any urgency in making a move without giving up some of his assets. It's like that one friend that you have in your fantasy football league that overvalues his talent a little bit too much. But now, as a result of the Damian Lillard trade, the Portland Trail Blazers set themselves up very well. In the very beginning, people make this mistake of immediately just looking at the return of the trade without thinking of the trade within the trade that could happen as a result of this. The Portland Trail Blazers gave up Damian Lillard, but they got Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, a unprotected first-round pick in 2029, and the ability to swap picks in 2028 and 2030. But they got Drew Holiday, who is a huge trade chip for contending teams. Immediately following the announcement of this huge trade, you would see a very simple report, like, the Heat are interested in Drew Holiday. And here's where things are about to get very interesting. It's about to get really spicy for the whole NBA. NBA. Because you might be thinking Drew Holiday is a remarkable player. I mean, he quite literally was the difference maker in the Milwaukee Bucks winning an NBA championship. But he's not the same caliber of superstar as Damian Lillard is. I mean, don't get me wrong, Drew Holiday, remarkable player. But we're talking about a 2-time NBA All-Star and a 3-time NBA All-Defensive First Team player. Definitely not the same caliber of player as Damian Lillard. Why is he significantly more valued? Drew Holiday could practically fit in anywhere on any team. Every single team in the NBA needs a player like Drew Holiday. Any team in the NBA would be in the market for Drew Holiday's services, and his contract isn't nearly as gargantuan as Damian Lillard's was. Currently, Drew Holiday's on the final year of a $35 million contract, and he has a player option for next year that he might opt into. And this is where things get really sticky, because if you're a team trading for his services, you have to risk the possibility of Drew Holiday opting out of his contract and entering free agency if he's not happy with you. With that being said, that isn't shying away multiple teams from trying to trade for him. The first contender is the Miami Heat, but think of it this way: the Miami Heat were just in negotiations with the Portland Trail Blazers over Damian Lillard. Obviously, things fell through at a specific point. You're hearing multiple stories on each side. For instance, the Miami Heat were willing to offer Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, 3 first-round picks, first-round pick swaps, and multiple second-round picks for Damian Lillard, but the Blazers had little to no interest in engaging in a deal. This is getting to a point where it's a gigantic game of he said, she said, because I highly doubt that if this trade was offered to the Portland Trail Blazers, they would turn it down. We were talking about them only offering like 2 first-round picks, and the Miami Heat are notorious for completely lowballing opposing teams in trade discussions. So what are the odds that the Miami Heat are willing to engage the Portland Trail Blazers and give up their assets to them regardless, but get Drew Holiday in return as opposed to Damian Lillard? I'm not necessarily sure. It depends how emotional Pat Riley will be in these negotiations. What about the Golden State Warriors, who are also being thrown up here? The Golden State Warriors could quickly become a front runner for Drew Holiday, per Chris Mannix. Now there's a huge issue with this. On one hand, trading for Drew Holiday would be a seamless fit for the Golden State Warriors. You can make an argument that he is the best two-way guard on the market. Imagine Klay Thompson is stinking it up playing the 2 guard, which he has a lot over the past year, and you bench him in favor of Drew Holiday. Seamless fit next to Steph Curry, shooting 38% from 3 last year. I know that's not Klay Thompson's percentage, but that's 3% less than Klay. And you get significantly better defensive efficiency from Drew Holiday if you do it. What's the problem? Well, the Golden State Warriors already traded for Chris Paul. Chris Paul is 38 years old. He's one of the oldest players in the NBA, and you're pretty much agreeing to trade Chris Paul only 12 weeks after acquiring him. Now, don't get me wrong, Chris Paul going to the Portland Trail Blazers would be fantastic for Scoot Henderson, and it's a role that he's embraced before with the OKC Thunder. But it would definitely be a strange look to go from Steve Kerr praising Chris Paul.
No, I will take Chris Paul on any team, including a pickup game that I'm trying to win, to stay on the floor.
To the Golden State Warriors trading Chris Paul for Drew Holiday, as much as it would already make sense. The Golden State Warriors are currently going into a new era. Bob Myers is gone. Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the brand new general manager. If there's one point of emphasis for the Golden State Warriors, it's the fact that they need to seem like a world-class organization like they've always had. That's what attracted free agents. That's why players want to play for Golden State. So you can effectively write that off unless Chris Paul is a huge dud to begin the season. But at the same time, you're seeing that Drew Holiday is very interested in the Miami Heat, but also the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, of course, I may have a little bit of a reputation here for being a gigantic Lakers homer because I'm a Laker fan. So I'm going to dissect this and be as unbiased as I possibly could be. The Lakers had a remarkable offseason. It blew away my own expectations, I'll have to admit. But the Los Angeles Lakers quite literally can't trade for Drew Holiday until December 15th because a huge portion of their roster was constructed during the free agent period. You can't sign a player and then trade them in the same offseason. If they're a brand new player, you have to wait until December 15th to make that trade. So if Drew Holiday is still on the Portland Trail Blazers by then maybe if the Lakers aren't having a good season, the Lakers could give up D'Angelo Russell, maybe Max Christie, Rui Hachimura, and some future picks to get Drew Holiday in return. But even that, in my opinion, is a gigantic long shot. What's important now is Drew Holiday can't be traded to the Lakers this very offseason. So what about the other Los Angeles team? The Los Angeles Clippers have been trying to figure out some way to drastically improve their roster. They've already made some very shrewd moves moves, bringing back Russell Westbrook on a below market contract. And they have a ton of depth on that roster already. They've been pursuing James Harden heavily, but recently it's at least become apparent that James Harden is off of the table. So that means that the Los Angeles Clippers could potentially be very interested in pursuing Drew Holiday from the Portland Trailblazers. The problem with the Los Angeles Clippers is they can only offer the most mid-trade package for Drew Holiday, as explained by Woj here.
I don't know if the Clippers can be the highest bidder in this process. Someone's going to come in here and probably give up a little more draft capital and in their minds commit financially longer.
So that leaves two teams. The Boston Celtics, who at this point have alienated Malcolm Brogdon to the max. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon was very upset about not being traded in June. Brad Stevens has said that the situation has been addressed, and now it seems like once again the Celtics are dangling Malcolm Brogdon for Drew Holiday, primarily because if they want to make a trade for Drew Holiday, they have to trade Malcolm Brogdon in addition to Robert Williams. By doing that, your front court is Kristaps Porzingis and the aging Al Horford. I don't know if the Celtics would be comfortable going into that season with those two, but it can be done if that's the direction that they choose to pursue. The final team is obviously the Philadelphia 76ers. The only way such a trade could happen is if the Philadelphia 76ers decide to move on from James Harden. The interesting part about this situation is there's so many directions that a Drew Holiday trade could go in, and we could either get an answer within the next couple of weeks or at the trade deadline. Either way, the Portland Trailblazers made a remarkable decision by bringing in Drew Holiday, because that's an additional piece that could either serve as a mentor to their existing talent or could be rerouted to another team for additional assets so they could build around Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, and Anthony Simons, and now DeAndre Ayton. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think is going to happen with this scenario? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.